podcast listeners. Welcome to another great episode of Podcast with Gautam and Jin. And thank you for joining us today. My name is Jin Vanstee, and with me is my co-host, Gautam Siwach. Today, we're very excited to have Dr. Ronald Harichandran with us. Dr. Harichandran is Dean of Engineering and Vice Provost for Research across University of New Haven. Dr. Harichandran has a technical specialty in structural engineering. He has performed research on earthquake, pavement, bridge, and fire engineering and engineering education, and has published over 160 journal and conference proceeding papers and technical reports. And he has taught a broad range of courses in structural analysis, design, dynamics, and probabilistic methods. He has been Vice Provost for Research for the past 3 years. Welcome, Dr. Harichandran, to our podcast.
Thank you very much, Jen. Happy to be here.
Excellent. So we'll open with a question on how has emerging technology impacted university education? And what are the latest impacts and trends, and how does the near future look like?
Yes, so, obviously the pandemic, in many ways was not a pleasant experience. But if there is one good thing that came out of the pandemic, it has been the broad adaptation of technology in education. As you know, as universities were closed and teaching had, to be remote, a lot of faculty who I had been struggling to get on video conferencing and so on, and to use those tools to improve learning, and who were somewhat resistant to it prior to the pandemic, were thrust forcefully into that mode of instruction and quickly learned what needed to be done. Post-pandemic, technology has become a mainstay in education and a tool that students are relying on to really improve the educational experience. Obviously, it comes with the positives and negatives, and so the best approach is to use technology as an enhancer. Video conferencing obviously is the one that most people started to use almost immediately. We at the University of New Haven adopted Zoom, but some video conferencing technology to do remote instruction is what people were thrust into. And not everyone had a lot of training at the onset of the pandemic and really had to jump in feet first. But over time, I have learned to use it more and more effectively, and we have been able to provide more and more training to faculty. But again, I think for those of you who have been on video conferencing for some time, know that it is not necessarily the easiest environment in which to either teach or to learn. We want faculty to be engaging and the students to be engaged in the learning process, something that can be challenging in a virtual environment. One of the challenges moving forward is to really train faculty to adopt tools within the platforms that can engage classes, whether it be interactive whiteboards or discussion boards and so on. How can you make the learning process engaging while you're teaching remotely or in a virtual setting? So that continues to be a challenge and a learning experience for faculty as they, adopt this more and more. That's one aspect of the impact of technology in education, something that has been very broad across all disciplines. Now, within engineering and computer science, the disciplines that are typically in the College of Engineering, technology has been used very broadly, even prior to the pandemic. So I think there's no question that technology is front and center in education, especially within engineering and computer science. Now, there are other technologies that are slowly starting to creep in but are not mainstream yet. And those are things like the use of virtual reality or augmented reality in teaching and learning. So those have been much more specialized. Very few people are starting to experiment with that. but it's certainly not widespread. So again, something that has room to grow, and part of the challenge is both hardware requirements, but also with respect to the comfort level of people being able to use these technological tools to promote or support education. So those, that's in a nutshell how technology has impacted education and is impacting it moving forward.
Thank you. And as a successful dean of one of the world's top forensic institutions, how would you advise an aspiring teacher, as in what are different career choices in academia, in how to be successful in the teaching profession?
Yes, so the role of teaching is changing very quickly, and technology is a piece of it. And so certainly any person aspiring to be in the educational arena and to work as a faculty member and to be teaching at a university really has to be adept at using technology, at least at a low level, right? So video conferencing, technology tools, online tools, these are things that faculty have to learn to do. And this is true across all disciplines. So even if you're an English professor or a history professor, you still need to be adept at using these tools. Students these days are expecting much more flexibility in their learning experience. They don't necessarily want to come to class physically every time a class meets. They want to be able to participate remotely even when other students are meeting face to face. So that creates challenges as well. The so-called flex mode of teaching, which is both teaching students who are in the classroom as well as those who are joining remotely, is actually even more challenging to faculty because they're trying to juggle multiple audiences and multiple technologies at the same time. They often need someone to support the technology side so that they're not distracted from interacting with the class or the content. But certainly, faculty have to learn to use these approaches, going forward because that is what students are expecting. And certainly in graduate education, that's even stronger when we are having working professionals who are trying to pursue advanced degrees, let's say a master's degree, they're working full time. They want to be able to have a flexible approach where they don't have to necessarily drive in to attend a class, that they can do it from their office, from their homes, and so on. And so I think the best adaptation of teaching and learning is really to mix technology with in-person instruction. And so I think that that's the best medium. It's not one or the other alone. It's really a blend of both approaches together to really enhance the experience for students. So that is what I would say that faculty need to learn and to be able to do. And being engaging is key, right? I mean, I think many of us have heard about death by PowerPoint. That can happen in a real life classroom where you sort of kill the enthusiasm of the student because you just rely on conveying information through PowerPoint slides. There is in the video conferencing world, there is death by lecture. Nobody wants to listen to long lectures online. So how do you engage classroom? How do you engage students? How do you break up your delivery into pieces where not all of it is just information transfer, but some of it is really students working together in a virtual platform through discussions, through projects, or through problem solving sessions, and what technology tools to support that type of interaction. These are the things that the faculty of the future need to learn on the teaching side, right? Of course, on the research side, people work in their own specialty areas and so on, and so that will be dependent very much on the disciplinary areas. Embracing technology is key to moving forward.
Great. And how to do a comparison among different degree programs that university offers?
Yes, so this can be quite challenging. I mean, today we are in a world where students and even parents are very much concerned with, what will happen after students earn a degree. So, when you come from, let's say, a wealthy background, a wealthy family, you might have the liberty of pursuing your dreams, whether it be in English or history or philosophy or literature, So, you could have that luxury if you have the ability to pay for that both through school and possibly after school because your earning potential might be, not as strong. But now we are getting students from, less wealthy backgrounds. We're having a lot of international students who are coming from, who have meager resources to expend on education. And they are primarily looking to earn a degree or to receive an education that will, result in employment with strong pay, in a sense, a strong salary potential. So that then, changes the way that students look at the breadth of offerings across different degree programs. Certainly, in engineering, computer science, these are fields that are in very high demand, and our students place very well. Probably our placement rate 6 months within graduation is stronger than 95% in these fields. So obviously, these are fields that have high employability, strong returns in terms of salary, and therefore, it's something that is appealing to students. However, these are not necessarily fields that may appeal to every student, right? Because these fields require somewhat stronger proficiency in math skills and in technical skills, which may not be what all students are good at. And I think one of the challenges in higher education right now is how to make the fields in arts and sciences that might be struggling a little bit to get employment, how to make graduates of those degree programs still be employable and be in demand. And the key there, I think, is to again have a technology angle to a classical arts and science degree. So whether you are learning, there are now efforts around digital humanities, or, if you train students in journalism, can they also be adept at working in an online platform with their journalistic skills? So cross-training sort of their interests in the more classical arts and sciences fields with technology, which can make them much more marketable, that's going to be a key. So as students explore options at any university, they may want to look for those types of programs which embrace technology in a strong way and therefore have better potential in terms of getting a job or employment. So that is what I would say people can look at. Of course, students do look at labor statistics and forecasts and so on, which fields have strong growth. And for example, right now, health sciences is an area that the University of New Haven is trying to grow because of perceived demand in the future. Students obviously have to cater to their own passions, and this is very individualized. Each person has their own interests, expectations. Once they determine what their own passion is, it is about finding a university and a program that can, in a sense, marry that passion to emerging needs in the marketplace. So that, I think, is the key in how you look for a degree or a university.
Very thoughtful. Using technology as an enhancer for educating masses is in the core of engaging with teaching and learning. This is the message from esteemed Dean Dr. Ron, who has dedicatedly influenced people's life in order to build a better society and a great future for many. We'll always be in debt of these leaders who are in forefront of implementing and adopting these new and advanced strategies with frameworks to help us grow. You're listening to the podcast, What's Up with Technology, with Gautam, Siwach, and Vanstee. Keep supporting and please share. Thank you.